Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, John Harcar. We're here with Caleb Christopher, and we're going to talk about building more companies in real estate. And remember, guys, with Investor Fuel, we help real estate entrepreneurs, investors, service providers. I mean, really, most people 2 to 5x their business. And by doing that, we help give the tools and resources to build that business you want to build, to live the life you want to live. Caleb, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this, right? I was talking about building more businesses and kind of diversifying and getting more, more income. But before we get into the weeds on all this, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, right? How you got into real estate, what you're doing now, or basically how you got here.
Sure. I mean, I think my story's not too uncommon. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was like, oh my goodness. So, I mean, I became an accidental landlord, which for those who don't know, that's when you can't sell your house and you just decide to rent it out because you couldn't sell it. And when that happened, it was weeks or maybe a month or two afterward when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I was like, thank God I didn't sell that house. Like, that's the beginning of my future, Mm-hmm. So that was pretty fantastic. And then I just started consuming BiggerPockets and all the other resources and learning. I just drink from a fire hose. Whatever I'm interested in, I consume. And so real estate is still, there's just a lot of room to expand. And so that's how I got started in real estate, and I learned it and I loved it. And I just started getting involved by doing my first flip, finding creative finance community to join. And I really love that.
Before you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, what were you doing? I mean, what was your job?
IT consultant, cybersecurity consultant. I had a bachelor's in cybersecurity and risk management. And so whether it's physical security, which is my previous job, was working at a prison. So I've got physical security, and risk management all the way through cybersecurity and risk management.
Did you feel that maybe that path wasn't as lucrative or kind of what?
I would say, if I'm honest, I would probably have made more money staying in cybersecurity over the last 4 years than I have now. But entrepreneurship is hard. You make mistakes. Like last year, I made a $120,000 mistake. That could have just been salary if if I went with another job. So, but it's rewarding. I enjoy what I do. I actually help people. Living the dream, I guess. I enjoy it.
Yeah. No, awesome. What were some of the bigger challenges that you had when you got into real estate, right? Because obviously you just read Rich Dad Poor Dad. You did a lot of research.
Well, you can only do so much learning before you have to do the doing, right? You got to get started. And so it's like with parenting. You can only read so many parenting books. You can only be so ready until you just have kids, and it's going to be messy, and you got to get in and just do stuff. So same thing with real estate. Buy my first flip, screw stuff up. I used to work construction, so I knew my way around the house and tools and things like that. But, you make all sorts of relationships, mistakes, expensive stuff, but that's a college course in and of itself. And so if you have the right mindset as you go through, then losing money, you can think of it as spending money on education. I mean, if you constantly do that, then there's a separate problem.
True. Right. You're consuming a lot more than you're actually doing.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get your first deal?
I had 5,000 saved up for my down payment. I used private money to purchase that first house. So
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
my first deal is the accidental landlord piece, but then buying my flip was, 6 months later.
Okay. Did you continue to do flips, or did you transition into wholesaling?
No, I probably can get the award for world's slowest flip. So
why do you say that?
That's not my style. Well, I was planning on the company I was working for at the time shutting down. Mm-hmm. They told us they couldn't bring in enough business, and so I was like, okay, well, I did my budgeting. Lesson learned, by the way. I did my budgeting for me doing the work because I can.
Because you can, right?
When the full-time job picked up some more contracts and kept me on board, now I've got split focus, but I didn't budget and borrow enough to hire contractors to do the work, and so it just dragged out, and I'm trying to run two things at once. Got kids. It's 30 minutes away. What a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when did you make that full-time switch into nothing but real estate?
Middle of 2022. I used to have a sign on my wall that had a date on it, and that was my drop dead date. I'm quitting my W-2 on or before this date. And that I did that by starting Creative TC, the current company I run, as transaction consulting.
Let's talk about that. What? Because I know you mentioned before we got on here there was a need, right? Yeah. What happened for you to, or maybe something didn't, maybe an instance did, that kind of said, hey, look, I got to do this.
Yeah. Well, so my first couple of deals, creative finance deals, subject to in particular, that can be a pretty hairy meatball, like rolled under the fridge with a lot of sauce and comes back out. Those deals can get pretty crazy. So my first couple of deals, we've got general guidance and instruction from online mentorships and other people who've done deals, but their guidance is only this deep. And when I get into the real life thick of it, I'm like, who's driving this thing? Who's in charge here? And the title company's not in charge, and the seller doesn't know what to do. And I've just got copies of paperwork that I'm supposed to use, but I can't answer detailed questions. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is wrong on so many levels. It can't be this way. And I had looked for support. I just couldn't find any that was willing to help on my deal, whether by JV or by flat fee. There was a transaction coordinator service available, but they had a high price and no availability. Literally, you couldn't get a hold of anyone. And so I'm like, this is a major problem. How many dozens of deals per month or hundreds of deals per month are going on where there's no guidance and experience to help people understand what they're doing and make informed decisions? And so somebody's got to do this. It's going to be me.
What kind of mistakes do you think people were making, or maybe even still are making, when they're trying to do this on their own without hiring a service like yours or someone like yourself?
And I'll differentiate. My service is not just coordination. Coordination is included, but that's an administrative assistant. A coordinator is an administrative assistant, and they're just more familiar with that line of activities than you maybe. We actively consult on deals, and so we gut check for underwriting, for the state you're in, the loan type. That's our job. And so TC for my company stands for consultants.
Got it. Okay.
And what we bring to the table is helping people understand what their options are. And one of the things I train my team is we are influencers, not controllers. We don't have authority. We can advocate, but we don't have the authority to make anyone in this transaction do anything. And so we have to be very strategic with our communications, and we have to be outcomes oriented. What needs to happen? Does it matter which path we take to get there? And when that's not the case, then we talk to our client and say, you have 5 options to do. This one includes this risk, and that one includes that risk, and here's the benefits and rewards. We can help you restructure the transaction. I see this risk because I've seen this before. This may come back to haunt you. Like, that's a flaky looking buyer to me. He's got all the flags and signals that I've seen that's a flaky buyer. And so you might go get a backup buyer. And just the fact of having a backup buyer and telling your current buyer, I've got a backup buyer in case you feel like backing out, let me know just ahead of time. That can be.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
A very peaceful conversation, but if I'm not helping them do that on the front end, then it hits them like a truck when it goes wrong.
What are people that, what are some of the common mistakes people are making when they're bringing you a file?
I'll tell you the story of somebody called me yesterday, and after dinner, I just talked to him on the phone for a little while. They had a buyer not bring EMD in time, but it did clear. And they kind of want to get out of the contract. They've assigned it to somebody, but they don't think that person is being genuine. But technically, they're in contract. Technically, EMD missed the deadline, but their contract doesn't specify that the contract automatically expires. That's something like, I like paperwork. I literally read laws and stuff for fun. But in my assignment contract, something I added was I've got 72 hours from the date of latest signature. It is the assignee, the person taking the deal. It's their responsibility to clear funds in, which accounts for a weekend, right? But if funds are not cleared in within 72 hours, this assignment contract automatically expires without notice. That way, I don't ever have to debate with somebody. It's not my problem if you can't get funds in. If you send a check, that's your problem. If your wire bounces back, that's not my problem if I have backup buyers. Because the wholesaler who's got a deal, they're under a lot of pressure to get that thing locked up for sure. They've got made promises to a seller that they need to uphold. They've got friends and family and other people and business partners they need to honor the terms and conditions they've set up there, and they need a solid buyer. And so having an automatic expiration, that's a huge piece for wholesalers. Just add that in. It gives you the room to be gracious, even if if it takes 74 hours or who cares what. Technically, this is expired, but I'm going to go ahead and extend it for you because I don't really have a problem.
And if there's not that date, they think they can just do it whenever. And
technically they can, because I've read court cases where the failure to deliver earnest money is not grounds to cancel a contract.
Right.
And
so it holds them to the fire a little bit more too, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like tall fences make good neighbors, and an armed society is a polite society. And when you look at contracts, having some pretty solid terms and conditions in there forces you to be polite and understand your rights and remedies.
What are you seeing as trends? I know, there's a big trend in sub 2 and all that growing and all, those type of transactions. I mean, where do you see anything trending now? I mean, is it still kind of that same way? Are we seeing traditional really go down? I mean, what do you see?
No, I think traditional is going to continue its thing. I mean, my company works exclusively creative finance transactions, so I see a lot of that, 50 transactions a month sometimes. Wow. And I think that's going to continue for a while. As long as interest rates are up, creative finance is going to be up.
Yeah.
And that's going to continue being there. The quality of transaction. Now, the longer we get away from those good interest rates, the more equity those sellers have. And so it gets harder to do those transactions without also including a big chunk of seller finance. And so by the time you add seller finance in, you've got the first mortgage and a seller finance chunk, the monthly payment's pretty stinking big. And so over the next 2 years, these deals are not going to cash flow, and you've got to be able to bankroll it or even lose a little bit of cash flow for the sake of the long-term, hey, I've got a 30-year mortgage at 4%.
Right. When someone brings you a deal that just isn't a deal, I mean, do you just, hey, sorry, man, or we can't do anything? Or do you, and I think you mentioned earlier, do you strategize with them how to make it a deal? Or how to maybe renegotiate?
Both.
Okay.
So first, we want to make sure that we understand the transaction and what the person's intentions are. We get a lot of new people who are like, I need guidance. And my objective is to provide JV quality guidance without having to take 50% of your deal. I'll take a flat fee, and we're in and out, and it's your deal for life.
That's awesome. That's good.
But when we see red flags, we're going to try to gut check that deal on the front end and make sure, hey, did you account, for example, if you're bringing me a sub 2 of a VA loan in the state of Texas, you might see where I'm going with this. But
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
done enough transactions where a new person thinks that the mortgage statement shows what they're going to be paying pretty close month to month after. But a VA loan means that that's a veteran who took that out. And in Texas, there's actually zero property tax for veterans. Meaning when I buy that property, it's going to go up to $1,000 a month plus or minus $400 for taxes. So that mortgage statement does not represent what I'm going to pay. And so if my underwriting is based on that, and so when somebody brings me a deal, we see stuff like that, and we're like, before you give us any money, I just want to make sure that you understand what you're looking at and that you're okay with this outcome. Mm-hmm. And so I don't even want, as a business owner, I don't want a negative experience associated with my company name, whether it's my fault or not. Yeah. And so I would rather help somebody for free, dodge a deal, or go do a deal somewhere else, than take on a transaction that I feel could go wrong and leave a bad taste in your mouth associated with my company name.
Yeah. What do you suggest when people run into situations like that? Like, I mean, in just that instance in Texas, I mean, are they going to have to go find out, hey, this is what it's going to cost after I buy it? This is what the normal taxes are? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they should. And you can do that. Most of the time you can look at the county tax rolls, and whether you're actually doing the due diligence yourself or using ChatGPT or something like that to help you out, you can get a pretty quick round number about what it's actually going to cost afterward.
What other mistakes are people making in some of the deals you're seeing that they're bringing to you?
They, particularly wholesalers, are just stating that it's going to be a sub 2, and they're not reserving the option to close in a trust and other things like that. They don't think about that stuff, and it's not a problem until it is. Everything works until it doesn't. Yeah. And so we've seen the problems, and so the language in the contract is pretty important to include certain terms that give the flexibility to the buyer. One of the things I train people on is your entry determines your exit. And so if I'm a wholesaler and I'm going to sell this, I need to structure the deal on the front end so that it's as marketable as possible to as many options as possible.
Yeah.
And that means a wrap is going to be pretty complex. I'm going to have to make certain promises or reserve certain options to myself as the buyer so that that's worth selling to somebody who wants to buy it and then turn around and sell it to a family that can't get bank financing. And you just can't do that with certain deals if you don't structure them the right way. And certain loan types are pretty tough as well. So understanding what type of loan, the implications, can you handle due on sale, having those discussions is pretty important.
Yeah.
Again, that's what my team does, though. As you work with us, we're having those discussions to make sure that everybody's making informed decisions.
Okay. What type of resources would you say that might be out there for folks that, let's say they don't have the money to pay somebody, right? And they want to try to do this on their own. I mean, are there any resources they can use to guide them through some of this stuff?
I think you're just going to have to JV with somebody who's willing to give you the guidance for a cut of the deal.
Okay. Why not just use YouTube U?
Yeah, well, that's what got me where I got, where I was like, who's driving this thing? And like, it's all chaos.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, I have found personally that I have the best clients are the ones that are willing to pay up front for me for multiple reasons. One of those being they're very sure of their deal, which means my team isn't kind of dragged along through the mud while they try to repair and restructure a deal every which way under the sun. And it becomes this whole urgent thing right before closing.
Yeah.
And so I like to apply a little bit of pressure because it's good, healthy pressure to make sure that the deal actually is a deal. And you can come in. I have a virtual office. You visit creativetc.io and click a button, and you're in my live Zoom with a receptionist, and we've got all of our team on there. You can ask questions for free because that's one way I can help you make sure you've got a good deal before you start throwing money at it.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's pretty cool. Guys, write that down. What did you say it was creativetc.io?
That's correct. It helps both of us.
creativetc.io.
Helps you make sure you got a good deal, and it helps me prevent bad experiences. Again, I don't want bad experiences associated with my name.
Right. The topic of this was building companies in this market. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, you have Creative TC. What else are you working on, or what else are you doing?
So I just made an offer on a title company. I've evaluated 5 over the last year, and I've got a couple of real estate brokers who believe that they can drive enough transaction volume that we can just get off the ground. And so we're pretty well resolved to start a title company. But I'd like to buy one that's got some existing brand name and employees and things like that. So I just got back from a trip doing that, and I'm looking forward to, I don't know, this month, probably April, getting started with that. And so that's exciting for me. That'll be my next 6 to 8 months actively super focused on that.
Why a title company? Are there deficiencies that you're seeing in other ones you've been using?
Industry standards are here. My standards are here. Maybe I'm a jerk. I'm a bad customer. Who knows? But I think there's a lot of room for excellence, and that's what I want to deliver. And so I want to be able to offer my standards to people consistently in a whole series of industries or service companies.
What differs your standards versus what the industry standards are? I mean, I'm just curious, like what level do you think that the industry's not performing at that you're trying to make as an industry standard?
The title industry, agents, real estate agents, and most people involved in real estate transactions as service providers, they're focused on closing day. And they're like, next, sign all these disclosures and acknowledgments and be on your way. Don't call me, right? That's the model. And I'm not okay with that. I think it should be set up for, make sure people, again, it goes back to that consulting. Make sure people understand what they're getting into and set them up for long-term success.
Yep.
Now, there's going to be a fine line to go between like providing advice as a third-party independent service provider. I can't be giving advice into a transaction, but I can at least make resources available where they can self-study and connect with Creative TC or other companies or options where they make sure they've got this fully informed transaction and they're very happy with it, not just at closing day, but also long-term.
Yeah, and that's awesome because a lot of it is just transactional, and so like you said, just to wipe my hands clean and not really, having that communication, and that's kind of where a lot of these deficiencies are coming through. So,
and as for active deficiencies, communication, the single most important thing, just pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yeah,
be available and call somebody. Don't overload yourself, and I understand. For me, that means my profit margins are going to be limited because I will not overload my people. Mm-hmm. We're going to stick to where we can deliver 5-star service every single time. And
that's better, right? And that would make everybody in the whole scheme of it all happier. Anything else you want to share? Anything else you think our audience should know about you, your business, your industry, whatever?
I am looking for a personal business coach. So if somebody has a recommendation, I think that would benefit me a lot. I've got I've got a lot of ideas, and I need somebody to whack me on the head with a newspaper every once in a while and give me some of that guidance so that I can be a better business leader for my people. But I'm on a mission to provide a comfortable living wage to 100 people by building companies that are known for excellence in what they do. And so the number 1 was Creative TC. Number 2 is this title company. I also created DOS Guard, which is due on sale guard. And I'm wrapping that into Creative TC to offer that service as kind of a due on sale warranty for the sub 2 transactions.
Sweet.
And we're going to start some real estate training. I've got a couple of people I'm working with to build some real estate training courses. So that's what I'm all about, all those different things. But my super focus is going to be that title company for the next 6 to 8 months.
Awesome. I love that. Caleb, I appreciate you sharing all this stuff with us today. So folks can get a hold of you. Maybe they want to use your services or whatnot. What's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
The fastest way to get in touch with anybody is going to be at creativetc.io. I'm usually working projects, and so you can walk in. You can walk in our virtual front door. Just pop in the Zoom and say, "Hey, I got a creative finance question," or "Hey, can I talk to Caleb?" And they'll find a way to get you to me, or Caleb at creativetc.io.
Perfect. All right, and we'll put all that stuff down in the show notes, guys. I hope you guys got some good nuggets today. If you guys have any questions that would pertain to transaction coordination, it really, heck, if it's a good deal, reach out and find out and let them help you. So, Caleb, thank you again. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. See you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.